Hello and welcome to the Adobe online show for technical communication. My name is Stefan Gens and I'm working as a consultant in the technical communication field for about 15 years now. And you have probably seen a lot of videos in the last month or years about moving to structured content and structured FrameMaker and XML and so on. And today we want to focus on something else. We want to focus on the content itself and we want to focus on the language. And to do so I've invited Andrew Bredenkamp to the studio. Welcome, Andrew. Maybe you want to introduce yourself?
My name's Andrew Bredenkamp. I'm the founder of Acrolinx.
And former CEO, I think?
Yes.
Yes. And Acrolinx, what exactly is Acrolinx? A lot of people have probably heard this company name in the past, but what exactly does it?
So Acrolinx is the name of the product and the name of the company. And we really come in where when people start to care about the language, about the actual content. So working well with all the tools where content gets created.
Okay, great. The claim motto of your company is speak with one voice.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So typically we're not necessarily just helping individual writers create individual pieces of content, but we're helping an organization. We're helping a team. We're helping a team be part of a larger team and ultimately the entire organization. So the idea is that the whole company can speak with one voice across all the different ways in which they communicate with their customers.
And recently I heard someone saying, yeah, it's probably just a spell checker, but it's much more than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course we have spell checking and grammar checking, but spell checking has to be seen as part of something larger. When you deal with technical product content, you have to get all the words and phrases right. They need to be spelt right, but also they need to be correct. They need to be consistent. They need to be ready for translation. Many of our customers are translating into many languages. So the right language is partly just correctness and consistency, way beyond spell checking. But then also you have to think about the target audience. Are you delivering content? Are you writing the right language for the reader?
Okay. So it has a spell checker, it has grammar checker, terminology checker, and style checker.
Yeah.
So that's the four main things.
Yeah, style is becoming a much more complicated issue, a much more delicate issue than it used to be. In the old days, people would just say, don't use passive rule, or don't use this or that, don't do things. Nowadays, as well as the standard style guides that people are developing also ideas around tone of voice. How do we reach the right tone, the right personality, language for our target audience? And so that's something else that we're starting to support as well.
So that sounds quite demanding as a very intelligent system.
Yeah.
So you need much more intelligence than just checking words if they're written right.
Whereas,
okay.
Yeah.
You have brought a document with you, and maybe we can have a look at it and how it looks in FrameMaker.
Yeah, I have a few FrameMaker books here. I can show you one that we've prepared with the made-up company SmartTech. But here you can see just an ordinary book made up of partly structured, partly unstructured content. The Acrolinx functionality is available through a standard menu. Here I can select which language I want to use, which rule set, that means which kind of style guide I'm applying. I can have different style guides for different types of content, and what types of check that I want to run.
So like marketing and technical documentation.
Yeah, you may have slightly different tone of voice or slightly different words and phrases you want to use when you're marketing as when you're in the details of the technical product content. So I can select all that, but basically what I'm going to do is simply check. When I've written a piece, I can simply check the content. The system is a client-server solution, so everyone is using the same rules, the same resources to check. And here you can see this document clearly needs some work. I have here a short scorecard which shows me red, amber, or green, depending on what I'm trying to do. And what I'm trying to do is to basically remove the issues and get to the point where this is happy. If I click that away, you'll see a whole range of things marked in the text. And I can just work through these as if I was doing a spell check, but obviously with this much richer set of feedback and guidance that I'm giving to the writer.
Okay, I can see different colors there. Are they for different types of errors?
Yes. So the colors are green for style, blue for grammar, and pink for terminology. So if I just click on some of these things, Then clicking here on RIP, this is a bit of an unfortunate acronym that clearly has come out of the product development. And here the idea is to be able to capture these kinds of things and suggest a replacement. I can block replace this if I want to replace this in the whole document, or I can just drop this in here and it'll be replaced. If I want, if I'm not sure why this is an issue, I can go and look at the entry for this on the server and see why this is an issue. I can even give feedback. I can add comments to this, etc. But the idea is we're guiding the writer to create the content that they need. And here, for example, I can say, I want, here I have a long list of things, different types of communication. This is really not very readable for the audience. So let's split this up, maybe make this into a bulleted list.
Okay. So it really helps not only to fix errors in the text, it also helps to improve the reading capability of the text.
Exactly.
So that when we put this, for example, on a website or so, where the people are much less focused, maybe they can read the content much faster.
Yeah, the idea is, I think the modern trend is to really focus on who's my reader and what is my reader trying to get done at that particular moment. If this is a piece of instructional content saying how to carry out a step or a set of steps, then make sure those steps are very clearly defined for someone who's maybe in the small space or under stress or whatever. Similarly, if you're in marketing, make sure that you have a positive, friendly tone of voice. This is critical for engaging all the content that's out there. There's a lot of demands on people's attention.
Yeah. Okay. And does it automatically replace errors that I make when or do I have to rewrite the content?
No. Similarly, I mean, in not every issue will come with a suggestion. Some things like complicated language reformulations. Obviously, the system can't do that. The system will simply flag them. But if it's a standard issue like a terminology issue or a simple style issue, then obviously we offer the suggestion, and you can simply drop the suggestion in. So the idea is that we're giving feedback. The feedback is very reliable. When we flag something, we're very confident about it, and we're giving guidance. If the guidance is not in the form of a suggestion, one can always click over and effectively see the style guide right here. So here you have this avoiding these long strings of nouns, and here you'll see basically an extract from the style guide telling you why this is an issue, giving you positive and negative examples.
Okay, that's very cool. Yeah. Andrew, do you support only structured or only unstructured FrameMaker, or both?
Yeah, I mean, a very powerful feature of Acrolinx is the ability to understand the context that the language is in. So it's often important in either an unstructured or structured environment to know where is a piece of language being used. Are we in an instruction? Are we in a title? Are we in a description? And obviously the power of structured FrameMaker and DITA and those kinds of movements is that you get a very detailed structure, and that structure we can use to guide also the language. I've prepared something here. Here we have a document. This is a DITA structured document, and here again I can check this just as I would a normal check. But in this case, we're not only going to do the terminology spelling checking, we're also going to check certain structural elements. So here you can see, for instance, that this power button, press the power button, there's no structure around this. But obviously, if I want to reuse this, if I want to render it properly on a device, I need to know that this is a structure. We can automatically find things that need a certain amount of DITA structure. Okay, so here I can say the missing UI element. We can go a step further and actually already add the tag around that. We haven't done it in a particular case, but if you know which structure you want to add, we can add that as a suggestion.
Okay, so in this case, it's just a B tag, making the word bold in the DITA as a DITA element, and you suggest that some different elements should be used, like UI control, and so that the word gets a meaning in terms of structure, content, and semantics.
The principle of DITA is to keep a clean division between a rendering, the publishing, and the markup, and so we promote the use of the right tags.
Okay, great. I think that's a really cool feature that I've not seen anywhere else. I think that's really unique.
Well, IBM and many of the other developers of the DITA program are customers of ours, and so we've worked very hard with them to develop specific DITA guidelines. We've also have some other structural, if you're using unstructured FrameMaker, we can also create rules designed around the unstructured style tags that you have. But clearly you get a lot more power from this with structured content.
Absolutely, yeah. So it goes really far behind the normal spell checker capabilities of FrameMaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. What would you say, when could a company start with it? Is it like 1 author, 5 authors, 10 authors, 20 authors?
So obviously speaking with one voice is fairly easy if you're the only person writing content for your organization. So typically we wouldn't be of interest to an organization that just had one person creating content. Typically most of our customers start with 5 or 10 as a team, but then it scales up to to several thousands. With our larger customers, we really are in the thousands of users spread across the planet, with a whole different range of tools that they use to create content. As soon as you're not on your own, basically, Acrolinx becomes useful.
Okay, and I can also check the voice of the text.
Mm-hmm. So the voice features is, as I said, is very very important for people as they move, as this focus increases on the reaching the target audience effectively. So I've prepared a couple here of a couple of files which show this. Here you can see a software installation guide. Now you might say, why is voice important for this? But here again, you're trying to understand, you're trying to get the customer happy very, very quickly. So if I check this, in principle this looks fine. I have some grammar issues and some terminology issues, but what you can see down the bottom here is that the readability and my tone of voice in terms of my informality and my liveliness is a little bit off target, right? So what I need to do here is to I can show you the guidance, but the guidance will tell you around how do we make this quickly more readable and more engaging for the reader. And typically this is going to be short, simple sentences using simple words, avoiding complex linguistic structures. So you can have short sentences, but they can be very complex. So we're measuring all sorts of different things on the language, with the idea that a few simple improvements to the text will bring you back then here onto these targets. So here you can see I'm in the green zone for my targets. That means the language is appropriate for this readability, for this target audience.
Okay, so if I would change the domain, so to say, I might get completely different results in the scorecard.
Yeah, I mean the idea is that you can define different target audiences. If I jump quickly to the Acrolinx dashboard here, you can see how I have just English and German loaded on this machine. We support 6 languages in this complete range, but with English, what I have here is I think with German I have a number of different voice targets set up for different types of content. So we might have a different voice for our marketing content as we do for our publications content, for example. Clearly, as you go into more detail and you want technical product content to be complicated, you have specialists and engineers and highly technical people that you're writing for. You're not writing for 6-year-olds, but nevertheless, you want to be as readable as is appropriate for that target audience. So you can set these different levels very easily by moving these sliders to get the right target audience.
Great. Okay, so if I think of a typical mid-size enterprise, does it still fit for a mid-size? I mean, or is it only for IBM and companies of these sizes? We
have customers of all different sizes. Clearly, you need to have a certain level of technical product content that you're creating. A typical FrameMaker customer would be a typical customer of ours, creating complex technical product content. And again, there would typically be, it's an engineering company or a technology company. Lots of relatively small companies are using this, for a team of 5, 6, 7 writers where they need to work together.
And the technology could probably also be used for banks or insurances or so.
Yeah, we have aside from this
very regulated content.
Yeah, I mean anywhere where there's high value content, or there's a big outside pressure on the content, that the content has to be right, whether it's compliance or whether it's just that we need to be really competitive with our content. Then making the content work together in a team becomes a real business imperative.
Okay, good. One last question: for which FrameMaker versions do you support, and how long are you working with FrameMaker?
So we've been working with FrameMaker more or less since the beginning. We've now been in business for 12, 13 years, so we've supported way back to FrameMaker 6, FrameMaker 5 or whatever. Most of our customers now are on FrameMaker 9 or upwards, but especially with the move to DITA and the structured support, we find a lot of customers moving to 12.
Yeah.
And so we've built out the DITA support in 12 and stuff like that.
Yeah. Today FrameMaker 12 is a full XML editor, and so that's probably the best choice you can do. Do you also support FrameMaker XML Author? Or plan to do that?
Yes, we support that. Again, in the standard editing mode. So the whatever FrameMaker sees, we see as a document. We can support those, and obviously we can support the structure in those formats very well as well.
Okay, great. So I think Acrolinx is a really very interesting tool, and it can probably improve the quality of content that the company produces and publishes a lot, and consolidate the voice and tone and quality of the company at all. When I think of content management systems, is there some kind of possibility to create, let me call it a quality gate, where you can say, okay, I can check out my document for editing and can only check it in back to the CMS once a certain quality score is reached?
Yeah, so what we've shown today is mainly the support for the writers, the guidance that we give, but we also provide what organizations often call governance, which is how do you make sure that your content is following the right processes and is ready to move through the process. Many of our customers are global. Even the smaller German engineering companies we work with, for example, many of them export 70–80% of what they produce. So there's a big focus on translation, and is stuff ready for translation, for instance. So we can use the scorecards that I showed you. Here, this scorecard, for example, we have scores on these scorecards. Obviously. The scorecard gives you then the ability to write business rules around that. IBM has a slogan, "Go for green," which means as long as this is green, it doesn't have to be perfect. But as long as it's green, we know that with confidence we can give this back to the team. We can check this into the CMS. We can give this for localization, whatever. You can drive processes, but also upstream of the typical technical writer. Typically, engineering is also creating content, and you can agree standards with them so that they at least do spell checking, they at least have the product written right in their content before they pass it on to technical writing. So in all your collaboration with other people upstream and downstream of a typical technical writer in a technical content domain, we can use Acrolinx to as a quality gate to agree when stuff is ready for the next stage.
So what we want is green content.
Green content.
Green content. Okay, Andrew, thank you very much for coming and showing us your solution.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching our show, and see you next time.